Welcome back to another episode of Buzzer to Buzzer. Alright, so the 2020 NFL Draft has elapsed, and we actually did a first round analysis in a previous video, so we'll leave a card in the top right hand corner if you want to go check that out. But anyways, there were so many steals, surprises, surprising moves from big franchises that even caught us off guard. Without any further ado, guys, let's tackle them. Let's start off today with a current controversy going on, which is a pretty hot topic in this NFL draft. All right, guys, so we know what the hot topic is. We know what's been going on. There has been a lot of rookie quarterbacks selected to prominent franchises with pretty good quarterbacks, which has been making us question, what are they thinking? For example, one of the biggest being Jordan Love, the 26th pick, to the Green Bay Packers, where Aaron Rodgers was a bad man, and Jalen Hurts, the 53rd pick, to the Philadelphia Eagles, where Carson Wentz was putting on a show. What's happening here, guys? Let's get started.
Okay, so the Packers obviously really foolishly, in my opinion, picked Jordan Love. And to be honest, I don't know why they did this, because they have Aaron Rodgers, who, as we know, made the all-decade team, so you know this man's an absolute tank. And plus, his contract is already extended in 2021, so I don't know why they would pick Jordan Love, because they could have, in my opinion, they should have picked a wide receiver. And in all of through 5 rounds, they passed up on 27 wide receivers.
Yep.
And this is just I don't know what they're thinking right now, and they did not have any success when it comes to this draft, in my opinion.
I feel like the Jordan Love pick, right? The quarterback wasn't that much of a necessity as a wide receiver or any other piece of it. Remember, this is a Green Bay Packers team that was 1 game away from the Super Bowl, and they decided to pick a backup quarterback. Sure, if they wanted a quarterback, they should go ahead and do it, right? But I don't think taking Jordan Love in the first round and trading up to get him was the best move, and neither was taking a quarterback with Jordan Love that would have been available in the mid to late second round. I don't think this was the right move for them, and I think they really messed up here.
I also believe that the Jordan Love move was bad. I think they were 1 year too early. I think Aaron Rodgers is extended for 4 years, 4 more years. And so I don't think the Packers should have drafted Jordan Love, as they're going to have to sit him for a minimum of 3 years. They were 1 year too early, and they should have gone with a skill position to help out Aaron Rodgers. As Harsh mentioned, they were only 1 game away from the Super Bowl, and a skill position player would have helped them.
For sure. Let me read you guys a statement which the GM said, actually. He's saying that Aaron Rodgers is still the quarterback of this team, and he will be for a while. But I think that we must start building our process and trust our work. And we added some weapons which can help immediately. Now, that word immediately brings some concern as to, is he expecting Jordan Love to outperform Aaron Rodgers? What's going on here?
I think what he's trying to say here is the picks they bring along beside quarterback Jordan Love, like the running back and the tight end they drafted this year. I think those are the immediate pieces that are brought in to help. But I think the quarterback draft pick is for the future to help them build and continue being a successful franchise.
Well, guys, this was a bit before actually a couple years after we were born, but we saw something similar play down in terms of the Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers type of thing when the GM at the time, Ted Thompson, in the 2005 draft, drafted Aaron Rodgers with Brett Favre, who was an amazing quarterback, still on the roster. But the main difference being that Brett Favre was, deteriorating at a faster rate than Aaron Rodgers was. But right now, you can't even. Do you feel like that we can compare those two situations?
Yeah, so I think in this situation, I feel like drafting Jordan Love kind of puts some pressure on Aaron Rodgers, because I feel because as what we've seen before with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers replacing him, I think that Aaron Rodgers knows that if Jordan Love, if they give Jordan Love some playing time and he outshines Aaron Rodgers, there's a solid chance that they replace him, even though it's Aaron Rodgers, because it's just what the Packers would probably do. It's they just want to win, so they're gonna give the QB spot to the best player available. And if in the coming years, if Aaron Rodgers slowly deteriorates like Brett Favre did, I definitely think that Jordan Love will come into the picture more.
I also don't think this is comparable to the 2005 draft, only because in that draft, Aaron Rodgers, by many, was considered to be the best overall QB in the draft. In this draft, Jordan Love was clearly the 4th best quarterback. And so for trading up to get the 4th best quarterback in a draft when you already have Aaron Rodgers makes no sense. But at that time, Aaron Rodgers just happened to fall to them. They didn't even have to trade up. So I think those two situations are completely different.
Well, let's move over to Philadelphia, guys. Jalen Hurts, the 53rd pick, going to the Philadelphia Eagles, where Carson Wentz was just signed to a 4-year, $128 million extension. What are the Philadelphia Eagles thinking? Are they trying to create a backup quarterback for somebody who they put their trust in? What's going on?
See, what I think is, so Carson Wentz is actually I think he's a injury prone player, and I think that whenever he gets injured, there needs to be a quarterback who can get the job done for the Eagles, especially with the high level of competition rising in their conference, as the Cowboys have gotten a lot of good picks. But I definitely don't think that Jalen Hurts was the right pick. I think he was. I think they should have waited another round or two to draft a QB because I think that Jalen Hurts and will provide some competition for the franchise QB of the Eagles, Carson Wentz, and I really don't think this is good for the team chemistry in general and the fans. And yeah, I really don't see why the pick happened.
What I'm understanding here with this Eagles pick is they believe they have all the pieces necessary to make another Super Bowl or deep playoff run. And I think the only thing they're worried about right now, or the main thing they're worried about, I guess, is the quarterback health situation. And they don't want it to come down to where Carson Wentz gets hurt late in the season and they don't have an option to turn it to, blowing up their season. Sure, last time they had Nick Foles, but how many times do you get lucky like that? I think they want to bring in a solid quarterback to help them, who's also relatively cheap because he was just taken in the draft, and maybe groom him for even the future.
See, why I don't understand this pick is because, yeah, okay, I understand the backup quarterback argument where, Wentz is injury prone and it makes sense to bring in a backup. But I thought second round was too early. They still need receiver help. The receivers, they lost many, and receivers were on IR last year, and they need secondary help. They've only added one more piece, and they lost Malcolm Jenkins. And so I believe they should have taken a backup QB in the third round. Jalen Hurts, I don't think was the right pick here. I think they should have gone with another skill position player.
As Harsh mentioned, it shows the Eagles' mentality. And I actually got a statement from their GM saying that they don't like to use the term backup quarterback. It's a philosophical type of thing. They want to call him a second quarterback, somebody who they can rely on. Hey, get in the game. And shows really the dynamic of the Eagles team and how much they invest in that quarterback position. And I believe that for sure it has to do somewhat of past experiences with Carson Wentz's injury, as you brought up, and Nick Foles having to come in. I think they got in the back of their minds, there's a bit of a fear essentially that we got to be ready if Carson Wentz goes out again. And it's for sure going to be interesting to see how things play out. Let me get a quick count from you guys. When do you guys think that these quarterbacks who just got drafted, like Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts, will be taking over the main quarterback right now in their teams? How many seasons? Arian?
For Jordan Love, I believe it's a minimum of 3 years. And for Jalen Hurts, I don't think he's ever taken the starting job from Carson Wentz because Carson Wentz is too talented for that to happen.
Okay.
For me, I think that Jordan Love will actually never take the position of the Packers. I think he's going to get traded away before Aaron Rodgers retires. And I feel like as time goes on, I feel like the Packers will regret the decision they made and they won't find a need for him, as I don't think Aaron Rodgers will slow down anytime soon. And as for Jalen Hurts, I actually believe that in 2 seasons he'll take over the starting position for Carson Wentz. As I said, I feel like Carson Wentz is gonna get injured more. As I say, he's injury prone, so I think he's gonna get injured, and I think Jalen Hurts will just prove himself in maybe 2 seasons.
As I've stated, I believe Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the draft. And I think by the end of the 2021-2022 season, the Eagles starting quarterback will be Jalen Hurts. Maybe not next season, but definitely the season after that. He'll take over that job and prove that he's a fantastic quarterback. For Jordan Love, I do believe he may not even get to the position of taking over Aaron Rodgers. But realistically speaking, I think it may take at least 2 to 3 years for him to even be considered taking over Aaron Rodgers' spot, especially where Aaron Rodgers is in his career.
Yeah, for sure. I think that Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts will both take over their main positions right now. Jordan Love in probably three years, because Aaron Rodgers, sure, he slowed down a bit last year, but that was mainly due to a new head coach. I feel like he's about to pop it off again this year. So at least 3 years for Jordan Love. And for Jalen Hurts, I'm saying that not this year, but Harsh, like you said, next year. A lot of potential in the kid. I think he's going to pop off in the league. He's really good. And it's going to be interesting to see how things play out in the next 5 years and whether these picks of these young rookie quarterbacks pay off. Anyway, let's move on to our second segment for today. All right, guys. So the whole 2020 NFL draft is over, and a lot of teams have made a lot of surprising and some notable really good moves. And that has caused a lot of teams to elevate their status and potentially be Super Bowl contenders. But some teams have made some pretty questionable moves, like what were they doing? And today, let's get started with talking about who were the winners and the losers of the 2020 NFL draft and pick one team each, and let's talk what happened. Let's start off with the losers. Aryan, who was your loser of the 2020 NFL draft?
My loser of the 2020 NFL draft was the Seattle Seahawks. I think it was obvious that they I'm just gonna start off with the first round, right?
Yep.
First round, they took some linebacker from Texas Tech named Jordan Brooks. They passed up on Patrick Queen to take him. All right, Patrick Queen was probably either number 1 or number 2 linebacker, and they passed up on him. Second round, they trade up from the back end of the second round to take a defensive tackle who was projected to go third round. Imagine how stupid that is. They traded up to get a guy who's already going to be there. They drafted no offensive linemen, and they drafted the third string tight end. They need corners, and they completely passed on them. They already have Greg Olsen, and they have Will Dissly, and yet they decided to take another tight end later. I think they made all the wrong moves. They need to protect Russell Wilson and get help on that defense, and they did neither in that draft.
See, if we're really going to talk about how many tight ends a team drafts, just keep in mind the Chicago Bears already have 10 tight ends on their roster. Yet they added another tight end. And plus, I believe in John Schneider's skills as a GM. I believe that he chose Jordan Brooks because I think he's going to really add a depth of defense to the Seahawks, and I really think that he's a great player. As Texas Tech head coach, compared him to Bobby Wagner, who's one of the best linebackers in the game.
Okay. So you're gonna compare the Bears tight end situation to the Seattle Seahawks tight end situation. How many different tight ends did the Seattle Seahawks start last year? Like how many?
Okay, well, that's
no. Answer the question.
Answer
the question. How many different tight ends did they start last year?
2.
And how many did the Bears start? At least 6 or 7.
We had that many injuries. That's
okay at the tight end position. We're looking for longevity and depth at that position, and that's what we're getting with this pick and Jimmy Graham. Not to mention Matt Nagy likes running 2 tight end offenses.
So to mention the 10 tight ends, right? No one realizes that 7 of them are going to be gone, but before the season starts, we're only keeping 3 on the roster. Like that's just for now because we had so many last year. But we're going to take most of them away, and we're going to keep the ones that we need.
All right, Abi, who's your loser for the draft?
Okay, my loser, I don't want to be boring and repeat a team we already talked about, but it's definitely the Green Bay Packers. I really don't know what they were thinking at all, and I really don't understand their decisions. Yeah, they drafted a running back. I believe his name is A.J. Dillon, but when you have a solid running back like Aaron Jones, I really don't understand why you have to pick another running back. And as we mentioned, they drafted Jordan Love. And as I said, I don't think Jordan Love will even start as a QB for the Green Bay Packers anytime ever. So I really don't understand their decisions in this draft, and I definitely think that they were a loser.
My loser for the 2020 NFL draft is the Las Vegas Raiders. Okay, let's look at this. In the first round, right, they needed a wide receiver, so they take Henry Ruggs. Completely understandable. But then let's look at what they took after. Later in the first round, they take Damon Arnett, right? Cornerback, adding depth to a position they needed help at. But then in the third round, they add a wide receiver running back combo when earlier in the draft they added a solid wide receiver and a running back that they already have in Josh Jacobs. They then continue to draft another wide receiver after that. What are the Las Vegas Raiders doing right now? It was not until later in the third round that they finally took a linebacker, and then in the fifth round they took a guard, which they actually needed. It seems like they have lost focus in what they're trying to find, and they're just adding wide receivers and running backs left and right, not really helping them as a team.
Well, all right, Harsh. Well, it pains me to say this, and I'm sort of feeling like Stephen A., how he feels like with the New York Knicks, but they do it every year. Every year they torture us. The Chicago Bears, man. The Chicago Bears are my loser. The Chicago Bears are my loser this year, man.
How?
Listen to me out. They drafted Cole Kmet in the second round with their first pick. And I'm not saying that the guy's not good. He's good. Sure, he's a Notre Dame star. Not a bad pick at all. However, as a B pointed out, we got 9 other tight ends on the roster, including a veteran, Jimmy Graham. And not to mention, okay, that's just the point one. Point number 2 is with their second pick in the second round, we take a Utah corner, Jalen Johnson.
Are you stupid?
What?
Alabama's Trevon Diggs, who was still on the board. What were we thinking, man?
Jalen Johnson is better
Jalen
than
Johnson. Yeah.
You
In
go
his
hard.
years at Utah, Jalen Johnson has given up 3 TDs and around 1,200 yards in his entire career at Utah. That's
That-
33 yards a game.
Exactly. Jalen Johnson or Trevon Diggs, he got burnt in the what's it called? The Auburn game. Did you watch the Auburn game?
Yeah.
Trevon Diggs was nowhere to be found. Jalen Johnson, as Harsh pointed out, has been a lockdown corner. He was faster than Trevon Diggs. He's taller than Trevon Diggs. His measurables are better than Trevon Diggs. In every single way, he's better than Trevon Diggs.
I don't know, man. I feel like Trevon Diggs was the better choice here, but it got me a bit confused as to this direction which we want to head in terms of building up.
I mean, in an off-season where you lose Prince Amukamara, who's getting burned all season, I think this is a fantastic pick, especially since we've lost Bryce Callahan in the past. We've lost Adrian Amos, and that obviously showed last year that we needed help at that position. I think that's what they're doing by taking this player.
Yeah, it fills a hole that we desperately needed. So I don't understand your logic here, Rayon.
I don't know, man. I got some doubts, but hopefully these doubts are not long-lived, and hopefully I want to be proven wrong, essentially. We don't say this often on the show, but I want to be proven wrong on this pick. Like, I want the Chicago Bears to go off and probably even make the playoffs this year, and hopefully this focus being given to the defense is going to pay off. But anyway, those are the losers. Let's shift on to who are the winners, and now maybe even contenders through the NFL draft. B, you want to start off with who's your winner?
Okay. So in my opinion, I think the Baltimore Ravens were a winner in this draft. They had incredible picks. So first off, they picked an incredible linebacker, Patrick Queen, who, as already stated, is probably one of the best linebackers in the draft, to add to their defensive game, which has been super consistent in the past at least 5 years. Then they added a really good running back, J.K. Dobbins, in addition to Mark Ingram, who they already have. And this will just increase their amazing run game. Plus, with defensive pieces like Justin Matabuke, I think that they will do really well in this in the next season. And other linebackers like Malik Harrison, just all around great pieces to their team in terms of defense and offense. And I really think that they were a winner in this draft.
Well, for sure, the Ravens were one of my winners for sure. But I think that somehow, some way, them Cowboys are a winner too in this NFL draft. I mean, just looking at things how they fell, right? Looking how CeeDee Lamb literally fell into Jerry Jones's laps in the first round of how much he was passed upon, and how they were even able to pick up Trevon Diggs in the second round, which the Chicago Bears passed up on, and Oklahoma's defensive tackle Neville Gallimore in the 82nd pick. I think that Trevon Diggs is going to replace Byron Jones, and I think that the Cowboys have proven to be a much better team than they previously were in the draft, and they might even get that division spot. So let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, I really feel like the Cowboys didn't lose anything from this draft. I think they made every pick they made. It was definitely a really good pick. In fact, they just added power on their offense and defense players who left their team. I think they added players like Malik Collins, who left the team, and he was a defensive piece. I think he was going to be replaced by Neville Gallimore. And Byron Jones will obviously be replaced by Diggs. And, yeah, I think that their team is just, definitely going to win the conference now, especially with all the bad moves the Eagles made.
My biggest winner in this draft, though they're not a contender yet, this was a big step in the right direction. I think it's the Miami Dolphins. I think, first of all, they get their franchise quarterback in Tua, obviously, and then they back that up with 2 offensive linemen, Austin Jackson and Robert Hunt, to ensure that Tua doesn't get injured when he plays in probably a year or so. They also get great defensive faces like Noah I can't pronounce his last name, from Auburn, who I think was a top 3 or 4 corner in this draft, and they got Raekwon Davis from Alabama in the second round. Lastly, they shored up their pass rush by getting Curtis Weaver, who was a top 85 top 85 pick projection, and he fell all the way to pick 164. I think they got great value here in this draft, and they're setting up their franchise for success in the future.
All right, guys, my winner from this draft is the Cleveland Browns. And I mean, in the first round, they take Jedrick Willis, right tackle, obviously helping an O-line that necessarily, desperately needed help. And then they continue to add players like Grant Delpit, Jordan Elliott, Jacob Phillips, adding to the defensive side of the ball, completely filling up that defense with quality players that they can further groom to become a playoff contender. And then they draft tight end Harrison Bryant and wide receiver Donovan Peoples-Jones to add to the offensive side of the ball. I think they got a complete draft filling holes where they need to, and they really came out as a better team throughout this draft.
For sure. All right. It's going to be interesting to see how that duo play and the whole team plays out for the Cleveland Browns. Many speculated last season that they're going to go off. They're going to make the Super Bowl. And what ended up happening? They didn't make the playoffs.
8-8.
So it's going to be interesting for sure to see. Well, besides that, y'all got any more comments about any other comments from the draft? It was quite the draft and quite the new format as well. Any other comments you guys got?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The New England Patriots taking a kicker in the 5th round. I mean, I wish I could have as much faith in a general manager and the coach as Patriots fans do, but I'm still confused. They're taking a kicker in the 5th round when they still have to address a quarterback situation. I mean, maybe they believe in Garrett Stidham. I don't know how you say his name, but I feel like, maybe taking a kicker in the 5th round wasn't the best option here.
Well, I don't know. The Patriots are for sure in that rebuilding phase now with TB12 gone. Going to be interesting.
Ariana, I'd like to say one more thing, all right? I hope this will change your mind about Cole Kmet.
Okay.
The reason the Bears took him at 43, I was reading, was because Bill Belichick was trying to trade up to get Cole Kmet in the 2nd round.
Oh.
So the Bears took him earlier before Bill Belichick could take him, and then we took Jalen Johnson with the 50th pick. So I hope that changes your mind on Cole Kmet.
Okay. No, for sure that. Okay, if Bill Belichick is looking at somebody, that prospect, he for sure has some value. But I don't know. It's still gonna be interesting to see how it plays out, if it was worth it or not. Abi, you were saying something?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying you can't justify a pick because Bill Belichick wanted this.
Okay,
player.
well, Bill Belichick did draft Rob Gronkowski. He knows what a good tight end looks like.
Yeah,
for sure. All right. Well, speaking of Gronk is back. The NFL is about to be one great season, one of the best we've seen in years, and we said that last year. It's about to be for sure a competitive battle to the Super Bowl and to the playoffs. We hope that you guys enjoyed our second draft analysis on the whole 2020 NFL Draft. Leave your comments, any ideas which you have, your Steel surprise in the comment section down below. And follow us on social media as well. And we hope to catch you guys on the next one.